I think about that management interview we did with Kaitiaki Jake, I must say, it's good to visit people who are making real success and who share with others the way to success.
To have someone guiding and teaching you, supporting you while you learn, is called having a mentor. You saw how team leader Jake is a mentor to those trainees for management.
I enjoy seeing some of my school friends working in there under his guidance. One of them began with part-time work at weekends, and here he is, a manager trainee.
Well, there's nothing to stop a person starting off as a worker who then begins to show that they're worth being trained to go further in the way they do their work and handle their relationships with others. They show that they have the sort of qualities that Jake looks for and recognizes as manager material. They're worth training further.
I'd really like to manage myself.
Driving down the main street heading back to Northland College, after all that good management stuff, I was a bit concerned to see the business empty shops have all been moved out of. What does that say about the way they were managed? Because I'm sure they wouldn't have opened up expecting to fail. Was it because they didn't know enough about what they were doing?
Whatever you take up, you're going to need to know what you're doing. You will need to learn and train. You can't just jump into something without learning what to do. Someone needs to teach you. Over the weekend, I talked to a student who had ideas that perhaps he could become an entrepreneur. Don't think that you only need to rent a shop, stick some stock in it, open the door so the customers can get in and you're going to scoop the money out of the cash register every evening.
Got lots of I need a big cash register, big desk, so we're taking lots of money. You know, this is good.
Hopefully, some of those shops in the main street could be empty because of success that the business has grown and they've left a place behind to improve their position.
Okay, I'm building out the picture of becoming a manager and how it's connected to being independent, managing your own life. Let's push on with the next session, because the class will be wondering why I told them they'd be looking at flying today.
Well, why is that plane getting tossed all over the sky? Most of you would have been up in a plane, although not such a small one, a one-man plane. You know what it feels like to be in turbulence, which is going through pockets of changing air pressures. In an aircraft, you can suddenly fall 50 or 100 feet, or bounce up 50 or 100 feet higher. Now, tweenage has some turbulence that you have to pilot your way through. And remember, you are the pilot in the seat.
That is why it's pretty scary about being in the driver's seat. Doing something wrong when you have the responsibility of your own safety as well as others. Up there is a sure long way to fall if you do it wrong, with a pretty hard and unforgiving landing when you crash.
Well, we're using a pilot's experience of turbulent pressure changes to refer to the adolescent turbulence of changing pressures in their relationships.
What am I supposed to learn from a pilot hitting the turbulence of the suddenly changing air pressures?
We've talked, haven't we, about a change in the way you feel adult pressures now that you start piloting into the independence, that is the freedom to run your own life. But you will start to feel a new pressure building up in the switch to peer relationships as your priority. Have you ever heard of the old saying about jumping out of the frying pan into the fire? Well, in this case, you're getting out of the heat of one pressure only to find yourself in another. You shouldn't expect to be going through this period of setting up your peer relationships without experiencing some pressure.
It's a new idea for me to think about changes in my relationships as having to deal with pressures changes, but I shouldn't be too surprised because it's quite normal to talk about peer pressures.
Peer pressure describes how some of the freedom to be in charge of yourself is coming under the pressure of needing to get approval from your friends. This is because in moving over to lateral priorities of relationship, a very important basis to relational experience is shifting its focus from vertical to lateral.
I'd like to understand why we feel it's a pressure. What's getting pressured in me?
Well, there's a basic need underlying all our experience of relationships. We mentioned it when we talked about families. It's a concept that's foundational to the very roots of our developing selfhood.
That's my cue. Today's concept is acceptance and belonging. See you later.
Concept is a good listener, isn't she? She knows her cue to come in to make sure we don't miss very important ideas. If a tree is going to flourish and show a very healthy state of green, it has to have very healthy roots. All the nourishment for growth is drawn in through the roots. You can see that acceptance and belonging are necessary experiences for YOSHI growth. You will have to steer your way through pressures on your acceptance and belonging.
And what's the right way to steer through it without getting off course? After all, a pilot still has to get to where he's going. I want to get to where I'm going.
Yes, well, aeroplanes hit the turbulence of changing air pressures, whereas teenagers hit pressures of changing relationships. A pilot is in control of coming out of it and keeping on course, just like you say. As a real YOSHI, you're in control of your journey to gaining independence, finding yourself, and becoming the true person that you are meant to be. That's where the green strand of the rope is leading you.
Yeah, okay. My name is Tikoha, TK for short. When you're a teenager, you're at your prime and you're able to do anything you want to do. And there's lots of doors open for you when you're teens. Like with a girl, the doors start closing because they can't do much. I know they're fun.
But the most important thing about being a teenager is the relationships you have between your parents and your peers.
Yeah, I guess we're real teenagers. Your peers are the ones you can relate to a lot easier. You can talk to them.
They're in the same place as you, they're on the same time, same level, and it's them that you feel that you can relate to most, and they're going to help you and work towards independence with them.
Yeah.
Relationships is a very important aspect of my job.
front of the store, I deal with many different people every day. For example, with customers, I have to be courteous and friendly, as well as understand what they want every day. With my teammates, I don't need to be as serious, while still maintaining that mutual respect. With management, it's another level of seriousness and nothing but respect all the way.
I think like your relationships at college, both with your teachers and your peers, it's all about respect, like for yourself and for others.
I know for myself, I need a good working relationship between teachers and management and students. I take part in a student council kind of setup where I have to take the ideas of students to the teachers, so I find a good working relationship between both is really important. I need to be able to communicate with the students and communicate with the staff, and that it's all about respecting both parties and being able to talk to them openly and together, and able to get the bridge between the two. Yeah, I find that's really important in college life.
I don't think there's any room for disrespect. It's not necessary. I don't agree with bullying and rejection in the school or community itself. It's not necessary.
It leaves people feeling intimidated and scared, and in that kind of situation you can't live properly, you can't grow as people, and I think it really restricts what people can do if they feel intimidated by others.
The best thing is probably just being young, and I've got, a whole lifetime of just fun, I've got a whole lifetime of just doing what I want, and it's being out there in the world, doing what you like, You've got a lot of time to see and do stuff. So I guess it sort of balances, I'm working it hard at the moment, trying to study, trying to work hard. But when you think about it, I've got a lot ahead, a lot to look forward to, so I enjoy where I am at the moment.
And I'm a civil foreman at Northern College, and I hope to go to university next year and study aviation engineering, that's building engines for airplanes, and see where it goes from there.
Okay, probably the worst bit of being a teenager is the fact that you still have to be at school and maintain a living, because I don't live with my parents, and I have 2 part-time jobs and got to run the car and the household by myself, so it's a hassle trying to balance school with work for me.
I've finished my college education now. I'm a working man. I'm working for the warehouse now. My secondary education was done via correspondence. A lot of pros and cons to that. Having, the pros being distractions. You wouldn't have as many distractions if you could get into your work and get ahead as far as you like. The cons, maybe missing the interaction with other people. College activities, but I didn't regret it at all. But all I'd say is to you guys out in college now, make the most of it.
I sort of got thrown into self-management as a thing. I used to be the kind of kid that got up in the morning and watched TV, right through till midnight. I used to sit there and eat food and just muck around, but I had to come to work because my parents decided to move away, and it was either stay here or move with them, you see. So I sort of chose, I took an option, and I have to live with it, and that was to live by myself and work hard. And that's where I am today. So I guess you sort of work your way through the independence, and if you don't do it, you don't succeed.
I believe that there's a huge future for young people. All you need is the determination. You need to sort it out, what is it you want from this life or from this particular session. Make your minds up and go for it. It's unlimited as far as I'm concerned. What you can achieve is absolutely unlimited. All you need is to focus on it and deal with it, and you will be rewarded for that. Thanks a lot, and I hope you have some fun with this session.
Let's go to the blackboard. Question 1. What basic need in everyone can leave us exposed to teen pressures? Question 2. A manager has to conduct himself safely and without harm to others. A. Are bullies good or bad managers of themselves? B. What harm do they do to the person they bully? Question 3. What is a mentor? What are some adolescent needs that a mentor could help with?
Next week, we'll be looking at getting our hands on the wheel.